with pumpkin, the major pest problem is your melon worm. If you have grown pumpkin, you have an idea what the melon worm is.
Yeah, man.
It's a small caterpillar, as you heard already, greenish with two white stripes. And you normally see signs of it in the field by the leaves being folded. Usually at the margins or in between the lobes. You'll see a leaf looking something like this. And then when you open it, there's usually a melon worm on the underside. They normally feed on the underside. They hide there, they breed there, because they are protected from natural enemies. So that's your major pest, and it can get into the crop as soon as the first true leaves start to come out. And they just feed on the margin, fold the margin over themselves, and at night they crawl out and they eat a bigger and bigger portion until you can have a field that is totally defoliated. Biological control and food season, we don't have. We have a lot of wasps around, so the wasps spread them out and eat them. You also have blackbirds and spiders that feed on them. So that is very good, because we could have produced a crop without the cost for chemicals. I want to stress that you don't always have to spray your crop routinely. You observe the pest that you have, that you expect, and if you don't see it, don't spray. That goes for any pest, not just the melon worm, but for your pest problems generally. Usually wait until you see the pest and they are doing economic damage before you treat. We are recommending for the control of the melon worm, which is your most serious pest, the use of these safe natural products, biological products that are available on the market. Most of the pesticide stores, if not all of them, should have at least one formulation of this pesticide. So that is it for your melon worm, which is the main pest. In a matter of days, just to stress, they can devastate your fields. We are not having it now because we are in a dry period, but when the rainy season comes, the population would have built up significantly for them to do severe damage to the crop. But just backing up and going to the early stage of the crop, your land preparation is very significant because it helps in a large way to control some of your early stage pests. For example, crickets, the normal field cricket, or you call it pul-pul, that jump around, they are brown, the normal field cricket, or mice that might be present in the field, which will eat out your seeds. So if you are coming out of a fallow period where you have grass, a lot of grass, and you are going to establish pumpkin, do not just prepare your soil and go right away and plant the pumpkin, because you're going to have a lot of those insects there to damage your early seedlings. So I'd recommend that you give yourself a good head start in preparing your soil and allowing it to dry out for some weeks if possible. But in flowering, what happens is that the insects that are buried in the soil, like the cricket and the mice and others, they will be turned up so that birds can eat them, or what you are using to plow will crush them, or the sun will dry them out. So if you prepare your soil properly, then you will begin early with a head start in that you would have reduced your pest population to a very low level, because your crickets can severely reduce your plant population. They like it when it's nice and juicy in the early stage, and overnight they will cut hundreds, maybe thousands of plants depending on the population. And also, like I mentioned, mice will remove the seeds and you'll have to plant over again. You don't always see, but there are times when you can get a swarm of squash bugs. They're really easy to distinguish, but they are brown and they congregate at the root of the young plant, and they suck out the sap and cause the plant to wilt. And if it is really bad, the whole plant just appears as if it has been burned and dries up. You can lose the whole field if you get the squash bug. So these are pests that you you need to look out for. They're not a whole range, they don't have as many pests as most crops, but when they happen, they can be very severe. But again, just a word of caution, I don't recommend that you spray routinely. Not because you are expecting pests and you're planting the crop, then you're going to start from day one to spray. Scout your field. That's a principle I want you to abide by. Scout your field at least minimum once a week, I would say, but preferably twice or every day. Walk through your field and see what is happening, because something can happen overnight. So it is very important to be intimate with your crop. So you know what is happening and you can take action. This is always said that one swallow doesn't make a summer. You know, one insect, doesn't mean that you're having a plague and you must go out and buy expensive chemicals and spray. Only use as is necessary. We have a habit of treating once a week. That's our routine. Most persons will tell you spray once a week. In most cases, that is not necessary. Once every 2 weeks, under normal condition, is usually adequate. But again, only if the problem persists. Wash them. That's a safe principle. If you have a small plot, there's no need to go and buy a $3,000 bottle of chemicals to spray. You can save that $3,000 and go and collect the squash bug. But if it's a big field and the problem is severe, then you can spray them with 7 or malathion or diazinon and bastidine. Most of the insecticides, the contact insecticides, will work with them. But again, your application has to be targeted just on the plant and around the base of the plant, because they hide in the cracks around the plant root and under the leaf that's touching the ground. Multiply on the leaf and suck the sap from the leaf and weaken the plant so that they don't develop properly. Aphids also, very importantly, they also carry diseases. They carry virus disease. And Ms. Williams will show you when she gets to the pathology part, and she will speak a little more on that. But they suck the sap directly and weaken the plant, but they also carry disease, just like mosquito carry dengue and cause it to be sick, causes the plant to be sick. Both the vines and the fruit, as you will see over that side.
This plant is about and I just start by saying that the diseases, the fungal diseases of the foliage, such as the downy and the powdery, are mid to late season, meaning of the crop cycle. They come in during the mid to late season. And downy mildew usually develops under cool, wet conditions, and the powdery mildew under dry, cool conditions. We have just noticed the mildews coming in, and as I said, it's about 11 weeks old, and it's just coming in. Before this, even in our control plot, where we have used no fungicide at all, the leaves were all clean. They had no mildews at all. So this substantiates what the literature says, that it is really a mid-to-late season crop. As you know, this time of the year is also dry, right? So we're not really seeing much diseases. The different chemicals that we're using we're using 2 systemics, the Amistar and the Ridomil MZ, and we're using the Contax Mancocide, Trimiltox 40, and I should say Phyton is also a systemic that we are using. In the treatments with the Phyton, we use only the Phyton.
In the case of the squash mosaic, which I said is seed-borne, there is this insect called Bandy cucumber beetle. You're not familiar with this cucumber beetle that comes down through holes in your leaves. That vector, right, or I should say the group of beetles to which it belongs to, have been implicated in spreading that particular virus in herbicides, you find that the watermelon mosaic viruses, the aphid-borne ones, are the ones that are more prevalent. Okay, the cucumber beetle has this, it's this habit in that it lays its eggs, I don't know if you all know, actually in the cracks in the soil. And then the immature stages, the larva hatches and starts feeding on the roots of the pumpkin, but not to cause any, major problems. And there are certain weeds that can also harbor this particular insect. But there seems to be a natural control going on for this. And when we're trying to treat for the melon worm, you'll find that whatever pesticides you're using would also help in controlling the cucumber beetle. For the squash mosaic rind, I would advise you to use, have a good seed source and not from fruit. If you see symptoms on your fruit, please don't take seeds from it.